Guys, and welcome back to Drop Clutch Garage. As you can see behind me, we have a brand new project. We have a 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1. As you can see, the bodywork is looking pretty epic. It's a fully finished, fully restored vehicle. Just needs some minor touches here and there, and we're gonna try to get it running and driving as it should. You can see my S197 in the background there. It's a great daily driver. It has almost 200,000 miles on it. Original engine, original transmission, but enough about that. Let's get into this Mach 1. All right, guys, here it is. Whoever did the paint on it did an excellent job. All the decals, the hood black, it's all painted in. You don't feel that line at all. Gonna have to address this fender right here, obviously rubbing on the tire. We have a few modifications to make on it too. We have some subframe connectors to install to really stiffen up the chassis, have it handle much better than it does currently. Currently it's idling a bit high, might have a possible vacuum leak. We're gonna look into that. Interior looks beautiful. We're gonna go ahead and work on that shifter right there. It's hard to tell without sitting in it, but it is a far reach for whoever's driving. It is a T5, bolted up to a 302. Looks like it's out of a Fox body. Seats are in excellent condition. Everything in the interior is just beautiful. Go ahead and take a look under the hood here. All right, guys, there's our 302. Very clean install. Just needs a few minor adjustments here and there. Speedometer quit working a while back, so we're gonna take a look and see what's going on with that. This could be the source of our vacuum leak right here. Got some electrical tape trying to hold on that vacuum line on the distributor. Go ahead and check that out. Wow, look at that. This top tie down really brings back some memories. I can't quite remember from what though. Alrighty, guys, so I'm going to show you a quick little battery conversion here. If you want to run a modern type battery like this red top Optimum in your 65 to 66 Mustang, the factory hold down won't work. It's that wedge style, and the modern batteries just won't fit in it. So what we got here is a few parts from National Parts Depot. This will allow you to convert to basically a later year, like 67 through 73, I believe. All use the same top tie-down bracket. And instead of having to replace the entire tray, which you could do, you do have to modify the tray to get it to fit on the frame rail just right. National Parts Depot and probably some other places as well sell this bar that fits underneath the tray. Comes with a bolt as well to bolt underneath the tray, and then with these holes to capture the factory style tie downs from the 67 to 73. All right, so we're gonna whip this together real quick, show you how easy that is to convert it over so you can get a modern battery and your 65 to 66 Classic. Guys, as you can see, that bar fits nicely underneath the battery tray. I'm gonna hold it down with a single bolt that it came with. It is zinc plated, so you don't have to worry about painting it or anything. You can paint it black though if you want to blend it in with everything a little bit better. I might actually end up doing that. We'll go ahead and get that tightened down. All right, guys, it's as easy as that. So if you're out there to replace your battery, you want to go with something more modern, you can usually do so with just a few parts. And it wasn't that expensive either. I think that bar was under 10 bucks. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get it in the garage. I think I'm gonna start on the subframe connectors first. Maybe even that fender too, so that it stops rubbing. But yeah, let's get it backed in. Alrighty, guys, as I was saying before, this is a fully finished vehicle as far as the bodywork goes. So with the subframe connectors, we wanted to go with the least invasive method as possible. So we went with bolt-ons. You know, that way we're not having to remove the entire interior, scrape off a bunch of paint just to get these welded on. We'll still see some added benefits for sure with stiffening up the chassis with these bolt-ons. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to install the rear mounts as they go into the front leaf spring perches. It comes with new hardware for that as well. So we'll be removing that bolt from the front leaf spring mount and replacing it with that bolt. And then it'll go through this rear mount of the subframe. And I'm not going to tighten it down just yet at that point, because it's important to secure these subframes with the weight of the vehicle on the tires. So I'll go ahead and keep those loose, lower the car back down, and then I'll drill the holes in the front subframe for the front subframe connectors before I tighten it all down. It's also important to try to roll the car back and forth a bit with the steering wheel straight, so that way you don't have any bind or flex in the chassis before you drill these holes. So let's go ahead and jack up this rear end and get started. Alrighty guys, so the first issue we're going to encounter here with installing these subframe connectors is the left side muffler is hugging the frame right here. And it is definitely going to be in the way, so we're going to have to adjust on that. It definitely looks kinked up, it's not straight. If you look further up in the exhaust, you can see the kink right there, right off the header. Looks like some clearance was made, and that could have kinked this muffler this way and pushed it closer to the fender. So we're gonna try to loosen everything up and get this thing adjusted. See if we can get it a little tighter to the floor, because it's hanging down quite a bit as well. Get it straightened out and moved back over. Should be closer to the drive shaft. If we go over to the right side, you can see, look at all that space we have between the frame rail. We got about almost 5 inches there, whereas on the left side we have about 1 inch. So we're gonna try to straighten out this left side exhaust here, make it a bit more symmetrical, and then give us clearance for that subframe connector installation. Alrighty guys, as you can see, we have the jack stand on the lower torque box here in the rear. We don't want the jack stands just yet on the rear end, because you'll put a lot of tension on that front leaf spring mount. It'll be really hard to get that bolt out. And then if you do get it out, the leaf spring will just shove up and you won't be able to get the new bolt back in. But these are the new bolts that it came with. As you can see, I have the subframe connector in place. I'm just gonna slide this new bolt in. Came with new hardware, washers, and a nut. I'll keep it loose, do both sides, and then we'll rejack the car on the rear end, simulating putting weight on the tires, and then we'll get those holes drilled in front before tightening everything down. So at this point we have the bolts in. I'm gonna go ahead and move the jack stands to support the rear end, and we'll get the front lined up and drilled before we tighten down all these bolts. And then we'll get in, we have little 3/8 bolts that go into here into an already threaded. So we should be able to get those lined up as well and put those in, get them all tightened up. So let's go ahead and rejack the car, put the stands underneath the rear end. Also had to remove the safety brake cable from this hole here, and I will have to transfer this hole over to the subframe connector to fit. I'll show you. To fit this back on, which holds the parking brake cable. Alrighty guys, on the left side of the vehicle, driver's side, I had to remove the fuel line clamp, just so while I was drilling I can manipulate the fuel line, get it out of the way. That way I'm not running into any issues like accidentally drilling through it. So I'll go ahead and get these lock nuts on these bolts, replace that fuel line clamp, then we'll torque down the rear subframe connector bolts. This will be a job done. Alrighty guys, that is the complete installation of the subframe connectors. This is going to be pretty much exactly the same through years 1965 through 70. Convertible is going to be a little different because you do have those square supports directly from Ford in the middle there. So those tend to bend down lower here to clearance, that reinforcement that came from Ford. But pretty much the same situation you're going to be working with here. The only thing I really have left to do here is adjust the parking brake cable, and that's pretty much it. Alrighty guys, that's gonna be a wrap for today's video. Went ahead and completed the installation of those subframe connectors. I also showed you guys a previous memory that I had of updating your early Mustang battery mount. And we got plenty more coming your way here with this Mach 1, so stay tuned. Make sure and check me out on Instagram at DropClutchGarage for even more content. Be sure to subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you see the many more videos that we have coming your way on this 1969 Mustang Mach 1. Thanks again so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.